not overthinking who our next speaker is, we have an awesome speaker today. If you own a car or a house, you know that regular maintenance is important. The same is true for Toastmaster clubs. Our speaker tonight is taking us on a tour of the Toastmasters Club assessment tool called Moments of Truth. Please welcome that Toastmasters handyman himself, Steve Lanham, with his speech, Taking Stock.
Before I start, let me ask, how many people have filled out the survey that I sent? Okay, people online, we'll be sending you a copy of it. We'll be putting it in the chat here in just a minute. You should receive an email from me. If you want to find that, then I won't have to work on the chat thing here, okay? About a week and a half ago, I found myself in the emergency room at Franklin Regional Hospital. I was disoriented, bruised, and freezing. 94-degree temperature. Right, 94 degrees. Madam Toastmasters, fellow Toastmasters, I don't like going to the ER. I don't like staying in the hospital. But sometimes you just can't avoid it. So once I got there, about 6 in the morning, Cynthia rushed me to the hospital. The ER team immediately went into action, starting all kinds of diagnostics to understand what my problem was. They checked several things. They did blood pressure check. They did a finger stick for diabetes. They drew blood, and they took temperature. When your temperature is 94, it doesn't register under your tongue. It doesn't register under your arm. So I'll leave it to your imagination where things ended up. Whew. They did a CAT scan on my head, even though Cynthia assured them that there was nothing in there. Well, the upshot of all that visit to the hospital, it turns out that my medications weren't interacting well with each other. And you would get to my age, you start taking several medicines. So I am now on the road to recovery. And like Mark Twain said one time, reports of my demise are very exaggerated. I mean, I went to the district council meeting on Saturday, and I got an email from someone who said, "I've heard you were sick. How are you doing?" So the word has gone out. Now, as I've gotten older, my doctors have suggested regular checkups, and that includes my diabetes doctor, my kidney doctor, my heart doctor, and even my eye doctor. So every 6 months or so, and sometimes more, I pay a visit to each of these doctors, so they too can assess my health. They do that so I can avoid that crisis situation about a week and a half ago at the ER. Now, Toastmasters International suggests a similar approach to assessing club health. There's a diagnostic tool called Moments of Truth that Toastmasters International recommends each club do at least once a year, if not twice a year. And that's what we are doing tonight, the Moments of Truth. Now, my personal moment of truth came a couple of weeks ago, when I found myself in the middle of my bedroom floor, freezing, babbling incoherently, and unable to stand. Let me get my technology set up here. Rick, will this work on this computer?
I hope so.
Well, Rick says it will. So let me share my screen. Okay. The Toastmasters International says that a moment of truth can be described in this way. A moment of truth is an episode where a person comes in contact with any aspect of the Toastmasters experience and forms an impression of the club's quality and service. And we want that moment of truth to be a positive one. Now, there are 6 categories. There are 6 categories in the moments of truth. I'm gonna move this over to the other side. There are 6 categories in the moments of truth, and you can see them on the screen here. First impressions, membership orientation, fellowship variety and communication, program planning and meeting organization, membership strength, and achievement recognition. Now, in the next few minutes, I'll touch briefly on each of these 6 categories. And those of you that haven't filled out the survey yet, I'm gonna give you a few minutes to do that during the speech time that I have tonight, so that you can give your opinions on how the club is doing. After the meeting tonight, I'll take these results and I will compile them and report back to our officer team and to the entire club on what we're doing well and what we might need to work on so that we can become distinguished club once more or even higher. The first is first impressions. This is all about how do guests to our club react when they come to visit us. Do we greet them? Do we make them feel welcome? Do we ask them? Do we ask them? Okay, take the points off there, okay, folks? I usually turn my phone off. Do we ask them to sign our guest book so that we can contact them later? Do we ask the guest at the end of the meeting to address the club and to join the club? And is our meeting room professionally arranged? Is our meeting room online attractive to guests? So the first moments of proof category is all about guests. How do they see us when they first walk through the doors of that room or first get online for our meetings? The second category is membership orientation. So a guest comes and then they decide to join the club. So how do we get them involved immediately into the club, help them feel like they're part of who we are? Do we make a big deal out of them joining the club with a formal induction? Do we make sure that they hit the ground running with a mentor? Do we make sure they understand what the Toastmasters educational program is all about? Do we understand their learning needs? Do we make sure that if we have members with disabilities, we take account for that? And do we involve them in club activities? We need to make sure that we do that. And obviously, we need to make sure they get on the agenda as soon as possible. So our newest member, Yan, she has been a go-getter in getting on that agenda. So that's what we'd like to encourage all of our members to do. We'd like for them to give speeches too. In some clubs, that happens fairly quickly. In other clubs, it doesn't. So we want to make sure that they're getting what they need from the club. And if they're not doing speeches, we have to question if we're giving them what they need. The next category is fellowship, variety, and communication. So this is about the social aspect of the club. So are guests treated warmly? There's that question again. Are our meetings enjoyable? Are they educational? Do we socialize outside the 4 walls of this meeting room or the 4 sides of that meeting box on Zoom? And do we hold meetings with other clubs, events with other clubs? And what about our club newsletter and our club website? How attractive is that? But that's the third category here of fellowship, variety, and communication. The fourth category is program planning and meeting organization. How are our meetings run when we show up here every Monday night? Are the agendas filled out in advance? Are members equipped and coached and mentored to carry out their assignments? Is there material available to help them understand what they need to do in each role of the meeting? Do the members look like they know what they're doing? Well, that's on us as a club to make sure that we help them do that. Are members giving speeches from the educational program? Now, here at this club, that seems like a moot point, but at a lot of clubs, people haven't bought into the Pathways program even yet. And Pathways, above all else, is not Pathways. The most Toastmasters, above all else, is an educational program. It's not a speech program. It's an educational program. So we all learn when we hear someone speak, not just the speaker. Meetings, do they begin and end on time? And our table topics fun and creative? And what about evaluations? Are they positive? Are they helpful? The thing about this category is, and a lot of these different categories, if we want to make sure that our members, especially when they join, after they've been here for a while, that we are setting them up for success. If we're not doing that, then they have to work a little bit harder to get the benefits of the program. Now, years ago, I heard of a club in Lexington, and I won't name the club, and I wasn't involved with this, but they said someone attended, a guest attended a meeting, and the club was disorganized, didn't start on time, didn't have the agenda filled, and they asked him his opinion of a meeting at the end of the meeting, like we normally do. He says, "You guys don't know how to run a meeting, so I won't be back." So how we do our meetings does make a difference. I mean, people expect us to have our stuff together, okay? The fifth category is membership strength. Does the club have 20 or more members? At Midway, we've been fortunate that that's been the case for a while. With the new membership dues deadline coming up here in the next week, we may be under 20 members, but I believe that we can build that back up. So are we retaining our current members? And are we attracting new members? Each of those is critical to the club's success. Are we promoting the club to outside entities? We had the Twilight Festival last week. We have the open house next week. So those are some of the things that we do. Are our club meetings varied and exciting? Do people get jazzed when they come to our meetings? We need to ask ourselves that question. And are we having regular membership building campaigns? That's membership strength. Next, and the sixth and last category for Moments of Truth is achievement recognition. Do we recognize member and club achievements in club meetings, in the local media, online, in the newsletter, on the club website? Those are questions we need to ask ourselves. Do we submit applications for awards in a timely fashion? And do we recognize any dignitaries when they attend our meetings in person or online? So those are the 6 categories for Moments of Truth. It's a diagnostic tool. It's an assessment for how we are doing as a club. So now we're going to do the assessment. Now, people in the room, they jumped the gun a little bit and they started filling it out as soon as I walked in. So that's a lesson learned for me. Do not hand out your handout until you're ready for people to fill them out.
Not procrastinating.
We have a group of overachievers here in this room, and they all wanted to get to be the teacher's pet, I think. So anyway, you all get the A on your assignment today. Now, those of you online, you haven't filled it out yet. In just a second, I will put that link in the chat and give you the opportunity to go ahead and fill that out. It'll take about 5 minutes to do that. And the reason I want to do that is always Rick.
The link's in the chat.
Rick has already put the link in the chat, so thank you, Rick. The thing about doing it now is to make sure that we do it. Now, when I walk through that door and leave this room, sometimes anything I was supposed to do in Toastmasters just leaves my mind. So we're gonna take a few minutes and allow you to do this. So let me stress this. And those here in the room, I hope you filled it out this way. If not, we got extra copies. We can do it again. Be honest. Give us honest feedback. You don't have to be overly critical or mean, but we want honest feedback. And the club officers will take this and look at this and say, okay, yeah, these are some things that we want to keep on doing because people say we're doing a great job at that. And here are some things that maybe we could do a little bit better. So we need to think about that and strategize about that. So make sure that you're honest. Because unless we do an honest inventory here, be able to address any obvious or underlying issues that might exist with our club. And remember, this is your club. It's not my club. It's not the officers' club. It's your club. And this moments of truth is your assessment. So your answers will help the club officers figuring out what the direction will be for the future. So let me ask right now, are there any questions? Cynthia.
Well, sometimes I know it's unfair if it doesn't apply, you want us to just doesn't apply like manuals, and we don't do manuals, or we don't assign roles, people volunteer. I mean, and how will that affect if we put a 1 because we don't do it in our club? Will that affect, or will y'all consider that when you're doing it?
So the question is, what about those particular items that might not really apply? So Cynthia mentioned we don't assign roles here, and one of the items is our speaking roles assigned. So you can choose to rate that however you wish. You can say we never do it, or you can say you don't know. And don't know is also, you can say this is not applicable to our club. Hang on just a second, I'm gonna go grab my form here. So any other questions?
Oh, okay. I have a question.
Okay, no questions? Okay. Are people filling this out? If you just let me know when you're done, put a message in chat, and we can continue on. Timer, could you give time for about 5 minutes on this?
I don't know. I thought I was timing you right now.
Yeah. Yeah, Cynthia will time us. Rick will sign the time.
Okay, Rick's got it.
And if you are done, just wave at us. Looks like Kiara's done. Valerie, are you done?
No, it's all I can do to keep time today. I had a tough weekend.
That's fine. Who else is?
Cody's
Cody on.
and so Sherry. And Sherry.
Sherry's got her hand up.
Sherry, are you done?
Sherry has her hand up.
Yeah, that was
She says she's done. She says she's done.
Okay, so are we ready to move on? Rick, ready to move on?
Are we ready to move on?
Okay,
Yes.
Rick has given me the go-ahead. So thank you very much. So thank you for taking time to do this. Now I look forward to seeing the results. I look forward to learning about areas that we're doing really well and areas that we can improve on as a club. So and on a personal note, I've mentioned that I've been in the hospital. So I've been home from the hospital for about a week now. Now I'm in the tweaking phase. You know, I'm not talking about meth or cocaine. We're tweaking my medications, my over-the-counter approved medication. And the doctors and I are trying to figure out where is that sweet spot for taking this medicine, and this medicine, this medicine, this medicine, this medicine. There's about 10 or 12 different medicines. The doctors and I are trying to figure that out. And it'll take some time. My blood sugar is still high. My kidney numbers are still elevated, but the doctors and I are working towards a good solution. So after getting the results of this moments of truth exercise, our club officers will be doing some tweaking too. And we're gonna see, how do we measure up against these standards on the moments of truth? And your honest appraisal, your honest answers on this assessment will help our club achieve distinguished status and even greater again this year, Madam Toastmaster.